Hi, I'm Dana. Apologies again for the filming setup. The sound might also be weird because I don't have any rugs or furniture in here anymore. So hopefully the next video will be in my new place, but I didn't want to miss too many. So we're doing a video no matter how low quality it is today, okay? And I wanted to talk about being autistic and being isolated, because it's another thing that I feel like I see people mention but we never have like in-depth discussions on. And I've definitely isolated myself a lot and felt like I'm very isolated from society. So I think it's an important topic to have, and I've just realised that I forgot to turn off my dryer, so I'm going to go and do that so the sound quality will be slightly better in just a moment. The main thing that's kind of inspired the thought for me and made me want to talk about it is that I had so many experiences before knowing I was autistic where I would have counsellors and therapists and other mental health medical professionals tell me that most of my issues that I don't socialise, I don't see people, I don't have friends, I don't have people to talk to. So it's the very simple, easy solution of just make some friends. And I'd be like, okay, I would love to have friends. It's been lovely when I have had friends. How do I find them? And that's the other thing that's really prompted me to think about it more, because I have found friends. I'm someone who currently has friends that I see regularly, weekly at least. And it's a bit mental and I'm really enjoying it and it's really nice. But the thing that makes having friends really nice is when they're people like you. And the thing with being a person like me is that I don't really like to go out. I would much rather go around someone's house and have smokes and drinks and have a nice time in someone's place. And that's what we do, and that's why it's great and I love it. But it's very much well, if you're not already friends with someone, how are you supposed to find the other people that don't like going out, And I think that's an issue for anyone, it's difficult for people to make friends for the most part. But I think especially when you're autistic, we have the added experience of having had friendships and having had a social life a lot of the time and having had it go wrong. The periods that I've isolated myself the most and felt most isolated from society and I don't know how the world works kind of thing because I'm so isolated from it, has been after I've had friendships go horribly wrong. And it's the vibe of that's just going to happen every time because it's what has happened every time. So I don't really particularly want to even deal with people and be around people. I would much rather be isolated and on my own because it feels easier. But then after a few years of that, you get lonely, But having social difficulties and having a lot of anxiety around social situations and just generally having a hard time finding people that I like and that like me and that want to be friends and understanding when you're actually friends versus when you're not and the things like that. Combined with I don't like going out very much. I'm quite specific in the places I do like to go out to. A lot of my interests even are very I don't need someone else to be there to watch my favourite show with me or read my favourite book or indulge in this TV show. A lot of the time I say that, some of the friends I've got now I have been able to watch my favourite things with them. It's really nice. But I've never felt I need that, I'm perfectly happy to have an online community to talk to about my favourite things and my special interests. So it feels it's very easy as an autistic person to isolate myself to a really strong degree without even really noticing that I'm doing it. And that's without even bringing in the way that my ex was quite good at helping me to isolate myself without me realising that they were having an effect on me. Which, is another kind of standard typical autistic thing because we can be quite vulnerable and easily, I don't want to say easily manipulated because I feel when someone's really trying to manipulate me I can tell, but I also feel I'm quite easily guided a lot of the time. I trust people that I love and that I trust to do me right, and they don't always. And especially after experiences like that, it's again very easy to want to isolate yourself and not be around people. There's a step though between just isolating from friends and not seeing people that often in that way versus fully isolating the way I have where I wasn't going out to work, so I wasn't even seeing colleagues, I wouldn't go to the shop, so I wouldn't even see a shopkeeper, I saw my partner when he got home from work, my ex-partner, and for the last year he's been my ex-partner that I've lived with, so it's just been a bit tough and horrible. And I've known a lot of other autistic people that are older than me that have very much lived like hermits, I suppose. And it's one of those things where it's, autism is such a spectrum that I'm I don't want to step in and be no, you need to stop living like this and make some friends. Because if they're happy, then what's the point? But also, when I've been isolating myself and been staying away from people and living in my own little special interest autism bubble, I could have really done with that. The thing is though, with isolating yourself, at least for me, it's very much putting myself in a little bubble. It's in like this little echo chamber where I start to just get really mopey and whingy and sad because I'm not having any sort of like outside perspective on anything. I'm not having like an outside view of anything at all. So I'm just in my own little echo chamber of like the world's horrible and everything's mean and everything's awful and I hate everything. And it's not healthy and it's not good. Like I even had a therapist at one point who was gonna like hook me up essentially with some of their other clients and never did, because I think honestly it was probably like not something a therapist should do. But they told me how like they were dealing with like multiple autistic people at that time who just didn't have any friends and were really isolated, and a lot of their issues were stemming from the fact that they were so isolated, myself included. And they were talking about like hooking us up because they were very like, how are you ever supposed to find each other when you're also anxious about going out or talking to people? And as much as like I say, I think that was probably kind of illegal, you can't just hook your clients up with each other to make them be friends. I also think it was kind of a really good idea. Like I wasn't against it. As much as I don't think it was necessarily legal or what a therapist should do, I don't think it was at all a bad idea, because it is like, well, if we're all isolating ourselves in the same way for the same reasons, it would probably be really useful and helpful to know each other and be able to talk to each other. And then even though we're like isolating in our own way, we wouldn't be isolated anymore. You know, and as much as the internet helps, because like when I was really going through like my worst phase and feeling really awful, I met like one of my best internet friends ever, Hassan, and that was amazing and really helpful. I loved her for that. But also like that's one person in like 8 years, you know? Like I don't really know how you're supposed to find each other outside of like having a therapist that will hook you up, even though they didn't, and it's probably illegal, you know? Like it feels like there needs to be some sort of like little like group or like app or something for like, are you isolating? Do you think everyone's really mean? Here's a load of nice people to make you feel better. You know, because I think that, especially for neurotypicals, they tend to think of isolating yourself as something you exclusively do when you're like really depressed or really sad and you don't want to see people. And I think that, although that can be the same way for autistic people because we're all different, it's a spectrum, personally, it's very much for me like, hi baby, okay. Like after bad experiences with friends and the like, it's definitely been like isolating out of sadness and out of like fear of people and the like. But you know, once it's been like 3 months since the end of the friendship, you're really hurting me, honey. You know, once it's been a few months since the end of the friendship and I've processed it and gotten through it, I should be able to like make new friends and go back out and have a good time again. But it continues to like press on you, and then I don't want to do those things, and then I don't have any reason to go out because I'm not meeting up with friends or anything. So I just become more and more isolated and more in my own little bubble. And like I say, it has a really negative effect on my mental health. And not just in the way of like I'm in my own echo chamber, so I am only having my own thoughts like going around and around. But it's also in the way of like when I do then like venture back out into the world and talk to people and make friends, I feel so rusty, you know? And like I'm autistic, I'm already not the most confident in my like social skills. I'm already quite like an awkward person. And then I also am sat there like, I don't remember like the things I'm supposed to say or how I'm supposed to like communicate with people, how I'm supposed to be as a person, you know? And it's kind of a horrible thing. And as always, I don't want these videos to just be horrible and depressing. So like I say, I've got really, really nice, good friends at the minute. You know, like it does happen where like you go out and you're like, oh my God, my social skills are so rusty, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm such a weird person. And then the people around you are just really nice and you don't have to overthink it and you just sort of drop the mask and realise that they're all autistic and queer and it's all actually fine anyway. You know, it does happen where things are really nice and really good. It's just that when you've had a lot of the crappy stuff, it leaves a bitter taste in your mouth, even when it's the good stuff. I need to stop using like weird metaphors in videos talking about autism. Like half of you probably like, I don't even get half of our metaphors, never mind the viewers. But you know what I mean? Like it just, even when like it's like these are really good people and I feel really comfortable around them and I feel like I can like, you know, like it's a good friendship and it feels like everything's good. There's still that little like back of your head bitter taste part that's like, you've thought this before. You've met other people before and been like, oh my God, they're such good people, I'm so happy I have friends now. And look how that went. It's very easy to stay isolated. It's very easy to stick with your own thoughts and feel like you're keeping yourself safe and like you're doing the right thing for yourself. And sometimes you are. Like there's definitely been times that I needed to like take extra space to myself and be alone a bit more. And that's you know, like this summer, for example, I spent a lot of time on my own. I think it was actually really useful and really helpful for me, and it wasn't isolating myself in the same way that I have in the past. But there also comes a point where you need to stop doing it, and you do need to like make friends, and you need to trust people again. And it's real difficult and it's scary, but it's also, you know, like lots and lots of people are genuinely nice, and it's not going to go horribly wrong. And it can suck when it's taken so many fucking people in horrible situations to get to that point. But also, like, if you don't keep going through that, you're never going to get it. And I think it's worth it. You know, and as always, I like videos to be about my experience, because I really am not any sort of like medical or scientific professional of any sort. I really don't know an awful lot about many things. But I also, you know, like, a lot of us have like hyper empathy, and it's conversations like this where I'm very like, you know, for me it comes down to like, I haven't really got friends and family, I isolate myself and don't go out a lot, but I sort of deal with it and get on with it and everything's fine. But I get worried about other autistic people, because obviously like we are all so different and it is such a spectrum. And it's like, what about the autistic people that need help preparing food? What about the autistic people that need help like figuring out what their routine is so that they feel comfortable in the day? You know, what about the autistic people that need someone and there's just no one there for them, you know? Like, fair enough, I could do with someone to like talk to when I'm sad, but there's other autistic people that have much more genuine support needs than I do. Like, outside, like, obviously it's a genuine support need to need someone to talk to, and everyone deserves to have like someone they trust to talk to. But there's autistic people with much more pressing support needs than I have. And when it's so easy to isolate yourself and become isolated from like society and like how are they supposed to get that support? You know, like personally, I feel like a lot of the time when I've gained support for like autistic traits, it's support I didn't even realise I needed until I had it and suddenly life was easier. Like, how are they supposed to get it? And it worries me, because, you know, like, I've had to really push to try and get help for my mental health and stuff, and I've still not gotten it. If they haven't even got it in them to like push for the help, like no one's advocating for them, no one gives a shit. Like, they're just isolated doing their own little thing, and it worries me. You know, if they're happy and healthy, like, it's all cool, but I worry that they're not always. And as a society, we very much just like leave people to isolate themselves if they haven't got close family and friends. And I don't know what you're meant to do about it, but it worries and concerns and scares me. It's just a thing I think about, okay? But it's not like there's particularly good support for any autistic people anyway, so I don't really know what you're meant to do about that. So I think that's the video, actually. I don't think I have any more to ramble on about this one. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comments. I think a lot of us have isolated ourselves in different ways and for different reasons. I think it's a really, you know, if you feel comfortable sharing, I think it's a really important thing to talk about and a really good thing to talk about, and hopefully it helps other people realise that, like, we've all been there. I think most of us have been there, and it's something you can get out of. It's something that sometimes is healthy, you know, like, we've got to figure ourselves out, and I hope this helps a little bit to someone. I don't know. As always, my links are down below. I no longer have a bed frame. If you wanted to donate to Ko-fi, that's absolutely fucked. I'm gonna be a mattress in the new place, but like, it's fine, but it's not, but it is, but it's not. But like, yeah, the links are down there. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Like, I don't post that often, I won't lie, but you can if you want to. It'll be down in the little box below. So yeah, that's me, sat on the floor in the last couple of days in this house. Can't wait to leave. Okay, whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you're having a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year, and I'll see you again in a couple of days.